It's currently 4 a.m. in the morning here, and I'm this excited for it. I am broadcasting from Australia, Aussie Antics, true to my branding. I'm on the other side of the world, so bear with me on that one. But
Dude,
yes, I'm super excited for it.
You're an absolute legend. Thank you so much for being part of this. All right, guys, Battle Bus is ready. It's launched, so have some fun in these games.
Let's do this. We get to watch more action, more excitement. First with Itachi, who has 125 points right now, Ozzy. He's going to be in an early game fight at what I like to call Camp COD. This is where Mr. Savage had his breakout performance at DreamHack and won this. And already starting things off with a nice shield tag on the player below.
2 heavy shield tags. This guy has found some good loot inside this building. He's already managed to get full shield, so Itachi's cracked him twice. He's trying to disengage a little bit. That gray tack hitting pretty damn hard for a gray tack, but he has some shield, trying to find his way around. Player disengages nicely to outside of the house. They've got to be careful, as you can see in the minimap on the bottom right. There is another player nearby, but he finishes it quick enough. Shiro RR going down, so he's taken down one of the other players on the island. Needs to take down the other if he wants the full loot, or maybe he'll take that fight and just start rotating with it.
Yeah, that could definitely be a thing because, as you see, Bob actually looks like he's going to opt to maybe fish or get on the outskirts. Hopefully Itachi isn't going to see him. No, he's going to creep up, and that does show that it might be interesting if Itachi has to fight again. But like you said, his decision still hasn't been made, and yes, he's going to get right on top of this build and make things difficult and awkward.
Yeah, he's just got to bomb him down. Oh, the beam comes out. That blue AR doing some serious damage. Now he's going to push forward with the green tack. He's got the blue SMG in hand too if he wants to try and spray through. See if he can find that angle in. He had a beautiful angle through the wall. He jumps down, gets the flick shot, and he goes down. So he gets all this loot. Now I guess the extra big pot, he wasn't able to pop it. Full health, full shield with this whole south area now to rotate through. He's going to pick up some serious loot and get in very, very healthy unless someone holds it.
And the interesting too is that he's going to have to rotate with nobody around. There's another player who takes one out. He's already got 2 eliminations at Slurpy Swamps. This is kind of an open stage drop spot, I would say, especially when Elim points are so heavily influenced. But right away, this is the other thing. There's so many fights that you have to take back to back to back.
Yeah, it's just constant people all over you. He's got 3 minis big pots, but I don't know if he'll have the time to get them off. He's trying to have the piece control. I don't know if this is his floor. It's not. He's trying to take it back. There it is. Gets both the pieces, but Linux takes the chance to go for the wall. Comes out with that purple pump and hits insanely hard. Just switched the whole tempo of this fight. Now he's got plenty of time to get the shields off. Don't know if his opponent has any spare shield. You're going to hope he does, because he's just turned the tides of this one. There it is. A little bit of a mat breather, a little bit of a med breather. 129 effective health. Trying to go back for it, though. Linux is playing aggressive. He took 1 big pump. He's going to want to be careful. He's not missing his shots today.
Knowing the Slurpy Swamps, I know there's going to be more people lurking. But actually, looking at the radar, there's probably not too many. Maybe they've already cleaned it out. As the shots continue to get traded, heals continue to get spent. And we see the impact of actually fighting. He has some G-Spray still coming in. And he does get these nice edits. These are 2 very skilled players fighting off against each other. You mentioned the piece control, which is all the control that he has on every single little build. But now it looks like they're starting to get low as people are playing a little bit more cautious. Another big tag. Can he finish the fight, though?
Yeah, this fight's playing out incredibly clean, and there it is. He can finish it off. He played that insanely well from high ground. I think his low ground opponent actually run out of materials. He started sitting in his builds, but that was a really, really good fight. Good piece control. They played it very smooth, and he walks away with it. And like you said, it's Slurpy. He's got a lot of shields to get, a lot of loot. Didn't look like there was 2 people in the area. We're tuning into Agency now. We have Heretic on the low ground. Obviously, his job has Agency even in the name. Trying to go down to Coolest Carrot. See what can happen. He's got 4 floppers and the Slurfish. So if this goes into like a light fight, he can disengage, maybe utilize the extra meds he has. Or he finally gets the key card. This is going to be the fight for the vault. This is one of the biggest fights in the early game. Who can secure this vault loot? It is massive. Who can walk away with the huge advantage? Coolest Cat, they're right next to each other. He's on the other side of the bed. He opens it, doesn't know he's there. 99 tag and a 77. Takes off the henchman disguise. He is running for his life now. Coolest Carrot has the open vault with no one there, but he chooses to push the fight, going aggressive for those 4 extra elimination points if he can get them.
Let's see if he can. Heretic on the back there, and he is going to actually get taken out. So it looked like a good start to that fight. Sneaking up on him in the vents is going to cost him. Now Carrot not only has the vault open, but he's got the loot off of Midas, and he's set up to do what Mage did in the previous game that we watched. But moving on to Castery, actually. This is his duel partner, and he's in a fight of his own.
He's doing it well. He's trying to take it if he can. He's going up onto the high ground. Nice builds. This is one, again, we heard Sundown mention a lot. We talked about those sharks. Castery is definitely one of those sharks in this lobby. Hasn't got any eliminations yet, but he's set up to do so. He has a very good loadout. He's got the launch pad as well to make it to endgame. He goes for the edit. Look at that. Look how clean the edits are. The speed. He put edits through the floor, goes through the cone. You can tell when you're watching a next level player, because even when there's players above them and they're right in front of them, they're still placing builds before their shots. They're going for ultimate piece control. That was an incredible fight. You can just tell straight away some of these guys are on a whole nother level.
Yeah, and he's going to continue to push the pace, continue to get right on top of another one. Kind of learning from his duo partner in the previous game. Says, hey, I can W key just as well as you, my friend. And he's going to get right on this wall. Brick. He does take it, but the cone is actually on the other side. He has to reset and takes things slower.
Definitely, he's going to try and push up now if he can. He's building, he's got 40, say that, but he's going to them very quickly. He's got 39 left. Player has the high ground. He's on low ground. He's going for those jump shots, just finds the angle, trying to keep himself covered as he goes for it. He's going up. They're building themselves pretty high, though. I can't see it on the minimap for the third party. Takes a heavy shot. This is it. The tide has changed. He's got one mini. He's got them to take it.
This could actually be bad. Now there's lots of high ground now that Klaven is the guy pressuring down. As this stalemate. Maybe wonder if Castery's on the back foot with materials. Maybe wondering if he has to disengage. But no, the stair goes up. The edit comes through the cone as well. Definitely wants to get right back into it, but can't quite find himself on top of the stairs.
Trying to make his way up where he can, trying to knock him out. They've got to be running low on mats. This has to be a mat conservation right now. He's only got 10 builds left to his name. Player above him has to be running pretty low too. Could even be worth going low ground, maybe chop it out, apply some pressure from below, and that looks like exactly what he's going for. No, maybe just going back into his own builds, trying to conserve those mats, going for the med kit. It's only 18 health, but it can all matter at this point.
Only 8 builds. So he has to kind of bait his teammate, or not the teammate, the player that he's fighting against to come right on his wall. And hopefully he can get the tack shots. But you're right, he's going to try to drop down and maybe get something to work, or look for a path to actually get down without getting beamed from the top. Now, I really wonder if there's actually a chance to make his escape here.
Yeah, escape, because like this has been a very long fight. There it is, the chop down. Here it is, breaking out now. They drop down. Castery's still on the low ground. He chops him out, but he can't take the height. Down to 6 builds. He's looking for it. It's going to have to end quickly. I don't think a disengage is possible now. He doesn't have the mass to build out of this. He's going to have to take the fight. It's go big or go home. Oh, and he drops down. I'm surprised there's no one coming for this fight. This has been a very long engagement in Holy Hedges. It's not too central to the map, but at the same time, it's definitely not out on the outskirts. There could be someone around who sees this fight and wants to make something of it. Good use of positioning to go back in the house. He doesn't have the builds, but he can use the existing house's angles. Gets that right-hand peek. They're both going for it, popping their shields, having a bit of a break. He's got to get the medkit off, though. Klaven, this might be a chance pushing. He does it. Here's the medkit going off. Gets another right-hand peek. This is being played so well by Castery. He played that engagement perfectly. Went for the medkit. The audio cue made Klaven push in because he thought he had enough time to get it off, and then he goes for the right-hand peek with that shotgun. This is an incredibly good engagement. Again, this is opens. These are guys who haven't yet proven themselves for qualifiers, and they're still playing this well.
And if he can pull off this medkit, which he knows is happening right now, he's not going to be able to as the edit comes through. If he could have pulled that off, he would have made this fight completely lopsided, but no. Castery, who is up there on the leaderboards, who is up high. We mentioned him. I think he was around 7th place. Is going to fall to Klaven the King. And with 2 eliminations so far, that's 8 points. And he still has to play now. The game is on, and he has a lot to work for in the rest of this.
Yeah, so he takes Holy to himself, but it's kind of going to be that situation. Is either win the battle, lose the war. He's now going to try and get all his mats back, all his loot back, and then rotate. So we'll see. We come back into another situation here. Fruoto with the epic AR. Look at the piece control comes through with the edits. He's trying to take it. He's using that tack to damage down the wall to whittle it away to see if he can take it. He's got spare meds, but if he can end this fight without using them, it would be massive for him. They're on the edge of zone. You can see 2 other players to their south, 1 player near them. There's a lot of verticality at this area, though, so they're going to be pretty safe from third parties from a lot of angles, but this player he's versing, playing very defensive, jumps down, tries to phase through with the cone. You can tell this player has definitely been practicing his box fights. He is fast. He's got very, very good control of this fight right now, pushing him towards the edges and just trying to take every piece he can.
And he's going to still try to take this floor, has to back up, and does get beat a little bit back with that pump shotgun. We're going to see it again from Zui's perspective, but up top, he's going to manage to take off that large shield potion. 50 shield back up to max. And on the side of zone, we're looking at the positioning now in the bottom right of the screen. The mini-map is up high on this. We don't have any sort of surge or anything like that. He's going to dive the box. A couple big tags on the face of his opponents. And he gets the spoils and doesn't lose too much shield. Yes, he took the big pot at first in that fight when we saw him up on high ground. So he spent a little bit. But all the rewards from the other side, because that fight was quick, down from 200 to 0 from his opponent. So no health spent on that side. He gets to pick it all up.
Definitely, and that you can see right there, that's the advantage of the tack. He jumps down, he used the tack to break all the builds, so there was at no point where he pulled out his pickaxe. He was always at the position to apply pressure and deal damage to his opponent. If you're running the blue pump like his opponent was, you don't have that ability. You can hit a heavier shot, but you don't have the faster fire rate, and you don't have the ammo in the chamber to be able to take that many shots. So he broke his way through. That was a clean way to get into what was turning into quite a long fight. This has been a very different paced game to what we watched last time with Mage. He was just going straight for it. But we've got a lot of good players, and again, it depends on who you run into. This is the opens right now. There is a lot of players in here. If you're Champions Division, you can play in this. So there's going to be some players that are going to be much less experienced than their counterparts. If you push up for a fight, again, we've got a Solari player there, Hunter, up on the high ground. Definitely one to look out for in this game. So there's some players in there who maybe this is their first event, and you've got people in there like Mage who have won a week of FNCS. It's a big discrepancy, but that's how we're going to see these names. People are going to come out, and they're going to make a name for themselves in this tournament.
And if you're unfamiliar with how this open format works, when it's everybody has an opportunity to play, we haven't kind of gotten down and narrowed it into top 1,000, top 500, as we're basically trying to do now. You'll see that the games get better and better as the points get higher and higher, because these guys are placed into games with the best points as well. So it's matchmaking based on the points that they have. And you can already tell the impact that has in the lobby. When we saw the radar, when we saw the mini-map, everybody, also we were talking about it when we were off, how congested side was kind of very, very occupied. In this, it's a lot more even. There it is on the spread, the mini-map. How many people are wide across that entire range? I think we're definitely getting up higher in terms of skill.
Definitely, yeah. The skill-based matchmaking kicking in here, so making these end games, making these lobbies a little bit more stacked. You have to be more careful with how you play them, but that's why Mage's game was so huge. When you have that chance, when you go into your first lobby or your first few lobbies, and there's going to be some players in there who haven't got that many points yet, if you can drop a 20 elimination game, it's going to shoot you up there, so when you get into those more difficult games, you just have a nicer buffer. So we got Opal here trying to go for this fight. He's got good rotation, good meds. He doesn't really need to take a fight. We've got a Weeping Wood zone here. There's a lot of cover. There's a lot of trees. You can refarm a lot of mats. It's going to be one of those zones that's going to play out slower because there's so much to cover you while you rotate. You don't have to use your own builds too much. You've got all these trees. You've got a lot of cover to make it through. And we're seeing, again, we talked about congested side. This northeast side, you see in the bottom right on your mini-map, there's a lot of players sitting around this area, but because there is so much cover, they're not engaging too often. And we see this is, I would say, a sign of a smarter player. When Zubol is someone rotating in early, taking his chance to get positioning, building out a hard mats, not waiting on the edge for when zone moves, and then you've got 30 people firing at you while you try and move.
Yeah, 100%. There's going to be somebody getting right next to him, and he wants to try to maintain the position that he has and make sure that the player doesn't get too close. So now that mission failed, he has to back off and make his base a little wider. But yes, you're right. And that's something we saw in the first two games when we were lower point lobbies. One of the reasons why Mage was able to have such a game. Ooh, hold on, Pool just got in the box and took him out. That's also another sign, is the ability to take circumstances like this, when somebody builds over top of you, and catch them when the entire lobby is kind of like, oh, okay, hold on, there's an opportunity here to take some shots. He pounces right back on that.
Definitely center zone now, and he picks up that second launch pad. This zone's going to be a little bit awkward. Short launches, high launches, they're going to be a bit harder with all the trees covering it, but 2 launches in the inventory is a very big pickup. You're guaranteed to save quite a lot of materials. Maybe if you get in a bad fight, you can even pull off a disengage. Getting later into this game, it's going to be a little bit scarier, but he's in such a good spot now. He's got extra materials there, so wherever zone goes, he can use those to start tunneling towards it. It's looking really good for him. He's in a good position coming into this game. See Coolest Carrot, who we watched a little bit earlier. He's here now, just boxed up beneath him. This is a congested spot where there's 4 people right on top of each other. When zone pulls, if they don't take a fight now, it's going to be hard to get out of here.
You're right. He's cool and calm right now, but where the zone goes could determine a lot for him, but look at that. More people rotating instantly as zone was revealed. You heard the sound cue that said the next zone has just showed up. And instantly people are running across the map. That means probably a max distance zone here for Coolest Carrot. And everybody near him. And it is going to be mostly pulled forward south. He does have that drum gun that we talked about when we first saw him. It is nice. Yeah, the fish specifically, the floppers. And something there that he did, make sure he builds over the bush, knowing that there could be an enemy lying in wait.
Using his wood builds as well. There's a lot of extra wood that he can refarm. He has a lot of trees. He might even take a few hits as he goes through. Looks like he might. Just you can refarm that wood as you go. Using those heavier mats, that brick, that metal is going to give you more of a defensive position like we see in front of him. The fully built metal you can't see, and it's going to take more shots. But you're not going to find much brick and metal around here unless you get an elimination. So he's using his mats very, very well, trying to make it into zone. We haven't seen too many, I would say, like long storm flopper plays here in the end games we've watched today. Maybe because they were on that lower end. It is a bit more of an advanced tactic. It's easy to pull off in theory. Sit in the storm, eat some fish. But if you don't time it perfectly, it is going to go south for you very quickly. So Coolest Carrot, he's got such a good loadout right now for this end game.
And he did make his way up towards the edge. Look at that, how spread out it is over the entire fourth zone. And so much impact as those fish in towards end games. In solos specifically, but we haven't really seen a major solos tournament since the addition of the Mythic POIs. And from what we've seen in these last two games, it has been those mythic items, the grappler coming into effect, the drum gun. We haven't quite seen Brutus's minigun yet, but we hear it off in the distance right as I say that.
We hear it right now. There's the cue. At the same time, again, a lot of those mythic items are more of an aggressive nature. Drum gun, you got your minigun. You can use the grapple more defensively, but in these lobbies where it is, again, there's that skill discrepancy. Being able to rack up those eliminations, they're massive. Got a player sitting inside the cone, good positioning. Got a lot of players. This is looking like already a lot heavier of an endgame. So we're seeing skill-based matchmaking take into effect, and we're going to see a very, very good endgame by the looks of it. A lot more experienced players managing to find their way through, not being as aggressive, not taking those fights they shouldn't have taken. We're going to see if it stays that way, but this is a congested Forest match.
Yeah, and here it is, fifth zone. Probably the most impactful fifth rotation that you have to make when it comes to anything positionally. And it's going to be fully across for Pusher. This is a player who's playing on Team Wave Esports. And he's played with Styler in a couple of different Cash Cups. But I don't know if he played too many times in the FNCS. At least in the duos portion, because I believe Styler was playing with Maestro. All of those guys now. Have to see what they do in this invitational. Pusher has the grappler. He has Sky's AR. He has a lot of potential. And you're going to see possibly a high ground take from him with the grappler. At least maybe once this fifth zone rotate stops, maybe build over the established high ground in the zone. We'll see who that is in a moment.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be a hard rotate to make. A lot of players already in there, but a lot of players not. We can see a few people beelining it straight in with the white zone, and here it comes. They're going to start moving, maybe trying to reuse a launch pad or use his own. Chooses, he hears that launch pad audio cue, doesn't try to find it, doesn't risk it, goes straight in, doesn't have the luxury of those fish. He has no health meds. If he takes down the zone, it's going to start taking down his health, not his shield, obviously, and he's only got spare shield. Doesn't use the grappler as well. Quite often you see people, less experienced players, go straight for that grapple, but it makes you a target. If someone sees, I say making yourself a target, flying into zone, glider pull, that was an easy shot. Logic goes down with 2 tags. It's a very big pickup. He's got the grappler in hand. He's in a good spot, but this end game, it's shaping up to be a good one.
Yeah, it definitely is. This is harkening back to the Cash Cups that we had in the beginning of Chapter 2 for solo games, when you'd be watching players like Benji in these end games. Very, very good. And we'll have to see now where 6 zone goes. There's definitely a lot of people fighting, but I think most of the players know that they just have to bide their time and wait a little bit, and then the eliminations will come to them. But also, the placement points are racking up right now. Every single time somebody goes down, they're getting very, very close to maximizing all of what they can get in this game.
Definitely. We haven't talked about it too much. Obviously, the guys did a great job, Shayo and Sundown, talking about the new point format, but at the same time, they're going to start getting some serious placement points. They start earlier, but you get them more often. So just the more you make it endgame, it's not about those massive thresholds anymore. That top 25, that top 15, you are getting them constantly. So the longer you can survive, even if it's just a couple people, it makes a huge difference in these lobbies. We saw the leaderboard from other regions coming down to 3-4 points. He's on top of his cone, boxed up around him. We see maybe a bit of inexperience. The drum gun comes out and takes him down, boxing up on a cone that wasn't his. Didn't try to claim it, and we see how how it goes against him, and there's the floppers. You talked about it earlier, Baller. He has the luxury of sitting in Storm now, using them, getting his shields off, but this is going to be a tough rotate. How do you reckon he's going to make it?
Well, there's a launch pad in front of him. He's going to be able to pop that. And with the floppers, he might spend them all, but he could get in the zone. Yes, there's an opening. And he's going to be able to land very close to height. I thought there was a potential there for him to even land on top of him, but no, he's going to have a cooler head. Sit down, heal up, get in zone, and then start looking for opportunities, but also make the decision of where this next zone goes and how fast he needs to get over there.
Yeah, he's in a good position now. He's got the drum gun out. 77 builds left. He's looking for what he can deal with. 24 players alive. We're getting some serious placement points now. Rotating zone goes north again. It's far away from all these players. No one is there on front side. He's making his way through if he can. Interesting shots coming out now. He's trying to make his way to the tunnel, and oh my gosh, the drum gun melting the player in front of him. Doesn't manage to pick up too many mats off it. He is just aggressively pushing forward. A lot of times we talk about getting into zone, then shooting back. Coolest Carrot does not care. He wants to shoot while rotating. He wants to get the eliminations on the way through.
In a moment now that he reloads everything, gets through. 12 players left, make that 11 as Boomer takes one out. Top 10. 4 eliminations for Coolest Carrot, and I think he's looking for way more builds so far ahead of 7th zone, but he's still looking down. Who's on height? It's Akeem. As he takes out Pool, there's still a large tarp over the trees. Nobody actually knows that this is too possible. As they look up and they don't really see too much because the tree's in the way. Oh, the beams, 66 and 33, and the recipient of that is actually Coolest Carrot. He gets the elim from it. And 3 go down in quick succession, and there's the grappler. That's a big threat for Akeem, especially being low HP.
4 players alive, 10 health, though he needs to be careful. If he gets knocked down at all, 10 health, he's going to go down to full damage. You don't want that at this point. Coolest Carrot, 15 builds left. He's got such a good loadout. He's dropping down. It's a 1v1v1 situation. Coolest Carrot, he's looking for this one. He wants both the eliminations. He comes through with a drum gun. Bit of a switch around. He gets himself put in the box, but he stays alive. 42 health in zone, 32. He's trying to get up if he can. 22 health. He has the extra builds, though. The material advantage proving itself massive. Takes the high ground. He takes the hill. I don't know if this player on low ground has the builds to get up. He's just got time. He's got the breather. He gets the minis off. He can go for it. The right-hand peek with the drum gun or the legendary tack. Both of this is going to be lethal. He's closing it out. Here it comes in the 82 tag. He takes down Akeem, who just slid in on the high ground. He did well. 62 effective health takes him to the second. But Coolest Carrot, with all those eliminations endgame, he did phenomenal.
Man, he's had his fair share of carrots because his eyes were on point, doing everything he needed to finish off that game. I think, I don't know if you guys saw, but in the elimination feed, Wave Pusher also made it there. I think he was like top 5 somewhere there, so also finding eliminations and placement. So a lot of these guys are going to be contending for these top 100 spots to try and move on. What do you think of that first game there, Paula?
I think that that